Hello, baby. How are you? How are you, my sweet little baby? Don't you love pets? Man's best friend, right? When I first moved out of my parents' house, I wanted a pet cat so badly, but the apartment I was moving into had a strict no pet policy, which is really lame. Though thankfully, I'm now living in a house where I'm allowed to have my sweet little baby, my little Prince of Doom. His name is Bigsby. When I first moved here, there was this tiny, dinky little black stray kitten roaming around outside the house. I mean, he was so young, his eyes were still that soft shade of baby blue, and he could barely focus them in the same direction. But he's always been so friendly and so quaint, just beaming with personality. I started feeding him outside, and next thing I knew, he was running the door, sprinting into my room, jumping up on the bed, and just making himself at home. And I couldn't be happier. You mean to tell me I get my pet cat and I don't have to pay for them? Fortunately, Bigsby's tail, not like this one, his tail like his story, also predisposes him to have a positive relationship with me in the way that I do with him. You see, wild as he may have been in his youth, he is still a domesticated cat. It is inherently ingrained in him to be amicable to humans on the off chance that it pays off in the way that it has. You see, humans, in all our wisdom and hot-blooded tenacity, made it a point on our path to planetary domination to make as many animals as we could into useful servants, either for laborious tasks like hunting, hauling, or plowing, or as livestock for food and resources like milk or wool. This process takes generations and doesn't go away overnight. If it did, Bigsby wouldn't be so chill with me messing around with him on my desk here. If you wanted to test the efficacy of domestication, you could always try hand feeding a bobcat, cougar, or a lynx. After all, they're in the same level of classification as my pal Bigsby here, Felis. This is the classification that separates the lesser cats from the big cats like lions and tigers. Another cute way you can tell them apart is the big cats growl and roar while the lesser cats meow or purr. So pretty much that's the video. I highly recommend you go out and try to hand feed an ocelot. And don't worry, this video is not going to be a rundown of boring biological jargon of animal classifications, but we are going to be talking about monkeys a lot, so consider sticking around for that. You know what? Fuck it, consider subscribing for that. The point here is that humans have a long, often complicated and one-sided relationship with the flora and fauna we share the earth with. And it goes a little under-recognized in leftist spaces, I think, save most vegan circles, which, by the way, thank you for having the best arguments and convictions for animal rights on the internet. I know you don't get to hear that a lot, ooh-woo. We all know the drill about no ethical consumption under capitalism, but that always felt like a dismissive hand wave when it came to animal rights. Like, we've got bigger things to worry about. There's people problems afoot. I never understood how we as leftists can get so wrapped up in, say, foreign affairs, which, don't get me wrong, are noble and worthy of attention, that it seems like we end up losing the bandwidth to extend that same empathy to the lives we have all around us who can't speak for themselves. And I feel like we have an obligation to do so, not just morally, but also practically. It simply isn't good for the revolution to run out of arable pastures. My argument here is simple. All life, even life we don't know or can't understand, deserves the same empathy and considerations as people we don't know or can't understand. Life deserves dignity, and the way we treat animals is undignified, to put it lightly. Where did Cut go? Oh, he's fine. I think we can walk and chew bubblegum here. And in fact, I think it's a disservice to ourselves to not at least make an effort in furthering animal rights. We're all just trying to make our way through oppressive hierarchies here, except animals can't vocalize how much it sucks for them. And I think the prevalence of animal rights as a hot button issue is going to become more and more pressing in coming generations. So, let's hop to it. We have zany ethics hypotheticals to go over, and I have a brand new idea for a dystopian future that I want to tell you all about. This is an interesting phenomenon, one that kickstarted the idea for this video. It's been observed in questionable but increasing frequency that animals are still picking up a few tricks. some even from us, and they're continuing to climb the evolutionary ladder. Big shocker. I know it's a little odd to conceptualize this way, but every time a new generation is born, evolution is continuing. I'm sure you've heard of some bizarre instance of a species being introduced on a remote island, and 30 years later there's a whole new brand of ecosystem on the island as they had to rapidly evolve to adjust to their new environment. Probably my favorite instance of this are the rhesus monkeys of Silver Springs, Florida. Which, by the way, Silver Springs, gorgeous place. If you're unfortunately ever in Ocala and want to see some of the most vibrant mangroves teeming with endless wildlife and heavenly crystalline springs packed full of dozens of species of aquatic life, it is a must-see destination. They have these glass-bottom pontoons that take you directly over the endless looming chasms of the springs. They steer you through narrow brackish rivers rich with kelp forests and alligators and herons lurking along the jungle banks. Just a beautiful, magical place. Stunning, amazing, gorgeous. Oh! I'm so cringe. I'm sorry, Bigsby, you're probably scared. Anyways, back to the monkeys. Silver Springs was the planned set of filming of Tarzan Finds a Son in 1939. And in order to liven up the set and make it seem more authentically jungle-like, the rhesus monkeys were introduced on set. What is curious is these monkeys, by and large, never made it into the final cut of the film. They were never scripted for any moments. They were not ever to interact with Tarzan. They released all these damn monkeys literally just for the vibes. They were reportedly present for filming, they just merely observed the film's production. And allegedly the bulk of their contribution to the film was screaming to warn the actor playing Tarzan of alligators whenever he would jump in the water. I love primate camaraderie. And they later realized that this was not the first time rhesus monkeys were released in the springs either.
If I had a nickel for every time
Rhesus monkeys were released into Silver Springs, Florida,
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
How's that for a plot twist? A year earlier in 1938, an entrepreneur named Colonel Tooney had set up a jungle joyride attraction, and he wanted some damn monkeys for his customers. He released not one, but 2 groups of rhesus monkeys onto the island. Unbeknownst to him, rhesus monkeys can swim, so they crossed the river and made it back to the mainland of the springs. With the introduction of the monkeys from the set of Tarzan, there was a now more than ample sustainable population of over 300 rhesus monkeys in the springs. It's so fascinating. These little fellas were dropped on this island freaking Fortnite style 80 years ago and just had to make do with what they could learn from their surroundings and from each other. It almost brings a tear to my eye. Reminds me of when I was young, in the primordial soup of the deep sea vents. Such aptitude I could only dream of these days. Seriously though, this is such an interesting case to me. You got these monkeys, right? They don't know what the hell's going on. All they know is they do not want to be stuck on this tiny island. So they think, they infer, they get curious. What lies on the other side of that river? It's a whole world out there. So you might as well take a Columbusian-sized stab at it and just see what happens. Because of this gripping curiosity, the rhesus monkeys were able to expand their habitat to several of the outer banks surrounding the springs, providing nigh limitless resources that they never could have accessed if they had stayed on the initial island, and preserving the future survival of their species. It could be chalked up entirely to instinct, but still, that takes guts, tenacity, whether they know it or not. This very same fuck it style curiosity is what led humans to start harnessing fire, following crop cycles, make sharp rock to kill better. And so, frustratingly, but not surprisingly, people had a pretty unsavory response to the monkey's arrival. Wait! Bigsby! Come here. Come here, baby. Meow. In the mid-80s, the Game and Freshwater Commission of Florida initiated the removal of the majority of these monkeys, and within the year, at least 217 of the monkeys were captured for research or to be placed in zoos, with many of them disappearing without a trace, implied to have simply been killed just for funsies. Finally, with enough outcry from the public, activists, and media, the monkey genocide was halted eventually, only following the elimination of 2/3 of their population. This seems like a beautifully succinct microcosm of our relationship with animals in a grander sense. We needed something done, like selling authenticity on our movie set, or having a new sales pitch for our jungle joyride attraction. So we just go out and get some animals because like, hey, they don't have like agency or whatever, and they can just do whatever we need them to do. But oh no, oh wait, whoops! Animals do have agency, and it actually takes a lot of work to get them to do what you need them to do. Because like they can't speak, and they can't like cooperate, and they can't consent. But hey, at least we made our money off of them, right? Oh gosh, this whole animal thing we did here like 20 years ago, it's kind of gotten out of hand. There's just monkeys everywhere now. We should literally go out and genocide all these monkeys that we literally brought here to begin with for our own benefit, because they're just like getting in the way now. Like they're all over the place, and they stink really bad, and they're shitting all over the customers. Do you get the point? We have a tendency to exploit animals against their wills to do our bidding, and then exterminate with extreme prejudice once their usefulness is outlived. Once it's just close enough to being too late, we can hopefully realize we're being literal barbarians and should like maybe cut it out. Though thankfully, it does seem that on an interpersonal level, we do tend to treat animals a little better than we do systemically. Like it's always heartwarming to see a pal on Instagram having a great, albeit stressful day because their little doggo's a mom now. Or it's fascinating and inspiring to witness the bond between some retired golf guy and his 70-year-old parrot. And don't get me wrong, there do exist institutions that have had very positive effects on wildlife and flora, doing undeniably great work on things like conservation for endangered species, with medical studies and captive breeding bringing hugely successful rebounds for critically endangered species that were at one point on the brink of extinction. There's a greatly succinct CNN article on this topic that I read while doing research that gives a brief rundown of 16 different species brought back from extinction through human intervention. Though, let's try to be optimists and ignore the fact that they were likely on the brink of extinction due to human intervention to begin with. Perhaps the most famous instance of this is with the them horses, a species on the razor's edge of extinction during the 1960s. Through programs of captive breeding and acclimation on carefully overseen wildlife reserves, the horses were able to be reintroduced to the local environment. And as of today, they have a growing population of nearly 2,000, both in the wild and in captivity. I hope we can agree this is objectively a good thing. The horses get to survive, and we get more dank-ass wild animals. The more interesting cases to me are not ones of strict conservation, but rather humans accelerating the evolution of a given species. The most common place this can be seen is in domestic animals like cats or dogs, and usually they're bred merely for aesthetic purposes. But there's also been times we've bred dogs, for example, to be bigger, stronger, more courageous, such is the case with the Caucasian Shepherd. These dogs were bred to be as bold and fearless as possible. They're livestock guardians built to stand their ground against wolves and bears. I mean, look at this thing. Its head is the size of a fucking tire and it weighs like 200 pounds. That's literally double the horsepower any wolf was able to achieve on its own before humans came along. I mean, you could damn near ride this thing into battle. There's also animals that have been bred for better ears, better sight, better smell, and of course, better amiability to humans. There's an interesting experiment, one to my knowledge which is still ongoing, where a group of scientists is trying to domesticate a family of animals almost entirely from scratch. No 10,000 year head start like we have on cats and dogs. Meet the family of domestic foxes. Or rather, allow me to refer you to a video more thoroughly dedicated to them, because it's pretty cool. These foxes are the descendants of a 6-decade-long science experiment with the goal of trying to fast-track this domestication process. The TLDR is that the friendliest and most curious of the foxes were broken into groups to be bred, and the friendliest and most curious of their offsprings were then bred, and so on. The result, which is by no means final, is a group of seemingly wild animals that behaves more akin to how you would expect a dog to behave. They wag their tails, they play, they learn commands. I don't think it'll pay off today, but I think we will come to find that in a few generations, this type of behavior in some animals will be more necessary and desirable than the skittish survivability they relied on for so long. If you gather anything from this, I want it to be the proof of concept shown here, that it is possible for human interference to shape generations of wild animals very quickly, abnormally quickly, much faster than we previously thought we could. We just have that much power. Do consider this as well. The human population population has grown exponentially, and our habitable areas have expanded rapidly, and will continue to expand. We will continue to push closer to the edges of remote forests, further into the reaches of the tundra, encroaching ever more into the world of the animals. Try as they might, they can't escape, and our human lifestyle will continue to bleed into and affect theirs. Think of our closest animal competitors, great apes and monkeys. It's been noted that more and more of their species are entering their own type of stone age and picking up on techniques like spearfishing or even washing clothes. And once technology reaches a certain threshold, it explodes in efficacy and accelerates. As more apes close in on this threshold, they may begin to realize it's a benefit to actively try and learn from humans, either for their own survival in an increasingly human world, or to try and get a leg up on less mechanically savvy families of apes. They might learn that they need to learn, and the ape least afraid of learning from people is the one with the best knowledge most worth passing on. He's got the monkey skills to pay the monkey bills. We'll get back to that. So, by all means, it's not entirely bad. We have the capacity to enrich the lives of generations of animals with our efforts, and even in some instances, save entire species. This again becomes especially interesting when we hone in on this idea of permeating knowledge. Like I said, I believe it raises an increasingly tenuous ethical question. We've already talked about how animals' psychology and social habits can be shaped by human intervention, and through our own intelligence, we're teaching them to function in ways more akin to the ways we function. This can be seen even within humans through ideas like the Flynn effect. The more knowledge and socialization to go around, the higher average intelligence of a population, which means more knowledge and more socialization to go around. Or with babies, as an example, the more their parents are around, the brightest and most social among them, the more they're able to learn at a faster rate than babies who have less socialization with intelligent influence. We have a near unimaginable power over the lives of animals, not just by picking and choosing their most desirable traits for them, such as the case of the domestic foxes, but also through our mere presence. Our overwhelming domination of the planet is shaping how animals learn, behave, adapt, and evolve, such as the case with the Stone Age monkeys. Or hell, even some birds are known to use tools and have adopted a primitive form of mercantilism by collecting and trading shiny things. I initially learned of this phenomenon through the subreddit LikeUs, a community dedicated to observing animals exhibiting distinctly higher concept behavior more akin to that of humans, or at least what we understand as more human. It suggests good content as anything from philosophical discussions of ethics and consciousness to instances of animals displaying deliberate intentional behavior based on informed predeterminations, like a dog lurking around a corner knowing it'll get a rise out of frightening their owner when they jump out of hiding. The community also details the importance of emotional complexity and how it links to a sort of higher executive functioning than one would typically ascribe to animals at first glance, such as a group of donkeys mourning both visibly and audibly in the wake of their herd member's death. This strikes a chord with me. I feel a good common ground to start with is adjusting the lens with which we view animals, as complex, fascinating beings growing and evolving alongside us, as opposed to merely intellectually vacuous form factors of biological processes, which is the historical precedent for humans' relationship with animals. It's interesting in the sense that it's like we're getting a glimpse of what it was like for us, say, 200,000 years ago. The brightest and most social among life as we know it, permeating knowledge down to the lower rungs of the ladder, creating not only a wider, but a deeper pool of knowledge for everyone within the species to pull from, unironically trickle-down synapse development. Except now in the 21st century, we're beneficiaries of resources like the internet, where we can endlessly catalog an infinite number of studies concentrated in communities like us. In these recordings and studies, we can detail continuities and motives behind these behaviors, how they change and are passed through generations, how they become more common among different groups of animals and various independent families within the same species. It is known, for example, that humans on opposite sides of the globe have developed the same types of inventions and cultures entirely independent from outside influence. Groupthink is a hell of a drug once you reach a high enough capacity, and we have the opportunity to endlessly catalog the development of other species who might just be right on the brink of reaching such capacity. So, like us, us. The content found in this community is definitely above average for your usual subreddit. They have some incredibly intriguing articles about animal cognition and consciousness, and some very in-depth philosophical discussions, and all of this goes way deeper than anything I'll be talking about here. However, if you do want to discuss the subjectivity of consciousness and the changes in cattle DNA observed over the last 10,000 years through genome sequencing, definitely do swing by at some point. I do got to admit, these super heady, high concept ideas about like evolutionary psychology aren't really my forte. Plus, I'm young, I'm hip, I know what the Zoomers are into. So are you ready for some fucking React content? What's up guys, it's your boy Addison G back at you again today with another Reddit React coming at you live straight through the internet. Before we get into it, I do want to apologize because we're only gonna have 3, that's right, only 3 Reddit Reacts coming at you today. Facebook went down last week and so Reddit got full of this shit tier normie content, and that's just not the type of vibe I'm about here. I want to bring y'all as much unique and high quality content as I can every single day. So do not be alarmed because tomorrow we are going to be right back to our regularly scheduled programming of 5 full-length Reddit Reacts every single day. So be sure to subscribe to your boy Addison G, that's me, right here on YouTube to make sure you don't miss a single Reddit React released 5 times a day every single mother flippin' day. Now let's get into it. All right, y'all, so we got something a little different going on this time. My editor put together this little playlist here, and we got some animals up in the tabs. We're gonna be reacting to a couple videos here. The subreddit is called LikeUs, and so I think it's supposed to be about animals doing some pretty dank shit. So let's not keep stalling any further. Let's just hop right into it and see what these animals are getting up to. Oh, is he gonna do it? Yo, dude, he put the sunglasses on. Oh my God, look at him. Yo. Oh my God, he's going avant-garde with it. That's crazy, bro. Are y'all seeing this? Oh, he took him. Yo, and he gave him back. Let's go, dude. He gave him back. Let's fucking go, dude. What's this parakeet here gonna do? Yo, he's got pitch. Oh my God. that boy does not fear the Reaper. Fearless, man. He got no stage fright. Holy shit. Yo, this is really cool. Cow experimenting with condensation. What do you mean? Is he like got a glass of water or something? Whoa! I do that. Whoa! That's awesome, dude. That's so fucking cool. We gotta run that one back. We gotta run it back. I've never seen... Yo, look at him. He's like inquisitive. I bet you he watched Sid the Science Kid when he was growing up. Oh, that's so cool, dude. Pico. How the Pico lets me know it's bath time. What's this about? I thought... Oh, they're birds. I thought a Pico was that little thing that go like... in the fish tank. These are birds, dude. Oh, he's ready! Damn. If only my ex-girlfriend was this eager to take a bath. Am I right, fellas? Got him. Oh, they're making a freaking mess, though. I can see why they put the birds in, like, the bowls outside, because they were making a mess there. I don't know if they were any cleaner once they were on the other side of the whole ordeal, you know what I'm saying? This cockatoo used to pluck its feathers out from stress. Yo! Oh, he's singing! Oh my God, he was going along with the beat. That's so cool, man. Look at him. He's really grooving out. Oh, careful, buddy. You might hurt yourself. It's okay. I'm here, baby. What's this one? He's sad. He's having a bad dream. Oh, that's so fucking cute. We gotta do that again. We have to do that again. Oh man, who hasn't been here before? That's the type of thing you love to see right there. Oh, that's some good stuff. That's so sweet. That's the fucking cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, I hope that dog's okay. This monkey, oh fuck, I love monkeys. This monkey puts more thought into peeling a banana than I ever would. Oh. I don't know if we can show this on YouTube. They do be peeling though. Yo, look at the dexterity on those little fingers. That's so cool, dude. Kind of just wasting the fiber though. You know, if you're a monkey, you probably ain't got the most well-rounded diet. And you should probably be eating everything you can get your little mitts on. Cause you know, you can't just be plucking out bananas from wherever. I mean, I don't know. Do bananas still grow in the wild? I don't know. I only see them in grocery stores. I ain't never seen a banana tree. That's crazy though. I mean, look, they were chowing down there. Look at that. Oh my God. Hard work pays off. Work hard, pay hard. This is the type of lessons that you always got to try to instill in people. And I'm so proud of Mama Monkey here teaching her little baby that if you just take the time to do something correctly the first time, you be thorough, you be well thought out and methodical in everything you do, and you will reap rewards from it. This dog knows how to use a crosswalk, but not press the button. Cars stop for him anyways. Well, yeah, he ain't got hands. He's like 2 feet tall. Look at it. Oh my God, he's so patient. Oh, dude. Not even our human pedestrians are that considerate. Yo, dude, that's so cool. Hell yeah, Buster. He's got some pep in his step too. I cannot count the amount of times I've seen someone try to go across the street and they just mosey along so goddamn slow that you have to start hitting the brakes, and then you don't know if they're gonna cross by the time you get there. So then you speed up a little bit, and it seems like maybe I'm just the crazy one here. I think they slow down because then they start to think like, oh yeah, ain't no one's gonna hit me if I'm like on the yellow line right here. So they slow down their stride a little bit, and then you have to smack on the brakes really hard to make sure you don't take them out. It just causes a whole lot of problems. I do gotta say I'm very proud of the tenacity exhibited by this pupper here, because he's really out here following the rules. He's doing things the way that they're supposed to be done. And I could not be happier for him. Alright boys, that's gonna do it for today. I appreciate you sticking around until the end of the video. If you like what you see here, you can subscribe to your boy Addison G, that's me, on YouTube. It's a lot of hard work putting together these types of compilations and keeping the energy levels up start to finish all the way through, so I do always appreciate the support of each and every person who leaves a comment, hits that like button, and clicks subscribe, and I will see you guys in 3.5 hours for the next Reddit Reacts. Okay, so it's pretty easy to joke about and be like, whoa, poggies, the doggo's doing a feel. But does anyone else watch this and feel like there's something profound here? I'm not the best with words, so I'm not entirely sure how to explain it. But when I watch something like this, it exposes a sort of vulnerability in me. A pang of guilt when I begin to conceptualize how these creatures are confined not only to the limits of their own minds and bodies, but to the world we built around them. And it gets worse when you start to consider the incredibly murky outlook for the future of these animals. This is what sort of opened the ethics door for me. It's almost like animals were forced into being the tragically dim side characters in the human's world, and were never given the opportunity to flourish in the way that we have. I want you to look this drippy monkey in the eyes and tell him he doesn't deserve to positively thrive. Since day one, we've been flexing our big brains and social capabilities over animals and cucking them into roles to do our bidding, which it seems a little authoritarian to me, a little slavey, which is not really the type of thing I'm about here. Which is why it's so interesting to me that it looks like things might change. Where it gets really weird is when we begin to consider the increasingly common instances of emotional complexity and higher functioning we're observing in animals. And yes, I know correlation does not equal causation. Just let me finish. I have a point. It is a very real possibility that this phenomenon only exists because we have the ability to capture this evidence on the internet. And these instances only seem increasingly common due to the growing popularity of conglomeration sites like us. No one is going out and catching all the butterflies as soon as the bug net is invented. But once the butterfly catching club pops off, everyone's going to be out catching butterflies. The butterflies aren't becoming inherently more catchable, we are granting ourselves more incentive to prove they can be caught. However, that's why I'm framing this as more of an ethical question we will begin to increasingly grapple with, rather than an analysis of history or whatever I'm supposed to be doing. I say this because my take is that in the grand scheme of our existence alongside animals, the trend is only beginning to be set. In a genealogical sort of way, there is no history to analyze. We only have the first dot or two on our graph here, but what about when we look back in 100 years, or 10,000 years? 10,000 years ago, we were still basically apes shitting in caves. How much smarter and more efficient have we become at spreading knowledge amongst ourselves now, as opposed to then? Do we have a reason to believe lesser primates won't also become smarter and more efficient in time too? And how do we quantify how much knowledge is spreading to the species beneath us? I think we have enough evidence to say, sure, it is bleeding down, something is, but how much? And what is it exactly? How much of it is being retained and passed through generations? Do they know they're learning? Are they cognizant these skills are something they should make an effort to retain in order to further the existence of their species, of those like them? Are they getting better at teaching each other in the same ways that we did? Animals typically select their mates, the mode with which they further their evolution, based on what traits give their offspring the best chance of survival, usually traits like strength or size. But what about when animals begin to realize that the best traits most worth passing on are tactile skills or social skills? And what happens at this hypothetical event horizon, at the singularity point of animal intelligence? What happens on the day 1,000 years from now, when some animal, maybe one in a research facility or hanging around at a zoo, has a light bulb go off and they think, whoa, wait a minute. This is a scary point, in my opinion, not just because apes are strong as fuck and could literally tear us limb from limb without even trying, but because humans don't really have the best track record when it comes to respecting life we consider to be beneath us. And I hate to break it to you, but animals are beneath humans by basically every metric except raw strength. I mentioned a bit ago that animals were never given the opportunity to thrive in the way that humans have. What happens on the day they begin to realize that they should? When that self-awareness and jealousy and resentment begins to set in. And then they decide to confront their conniving, intelligent, domineering human overlords. It's a scary world to imagine, one where we have to start recognizing the evolving prowess of animals like apes, and that's not even to mention other intelligent creatures like dolphins or octopi. It feels very dystopian, and I think that's because I know it's not going to go well for them. I cannot imagine anything resembling, say, our current Congress making fair, ethical, nuanced decisions recognizing the legitimacy or sovereignty of a nation of literal apes. Oh god, we haven't even figured out inter-homo sapien bigotry yet. Fuck, just imagine a presidential debate with two senile octogenarians arguing over whether or not monkeys deserve rights. And of course, the moment this box is opened, it can never be shut again. We're going to have to start sharing technology with them and teaching them how to use it. And humans might unironically have to take part in multi-tiered, interspecies governments and coalitions and wars and territorial disputes and oh my fucking god. Any species that dares to become more intelligent than a doormat is so fucked, and I feel so bad for them. Oh man, I thought this would be just like a fun hypothetical, like some wacky food for thought, but I don't really want to talk about this anymore. There's no real upside for the animals once they're forced to reckon with human civilization as near equals, and it kind of doomer pills me a little bit. Sure, there's gonna be some dead space between then and now where animals are enjoying the fruits of heightening intelligence and technological advancements, but there comes a day when you're born to shit and forced to wipe. I really hope our attitude towards animal rights changes a good bit between then and now. Ideally, our relationship with their agency and rights evolves at a similar pace to them, so the day that they finally do have that light bulb moment, we're waiting for it, we're anticipating it, and we have the contingencies for it. Hopefully I'm still president by then, because I for one welcome the new coalitions with our monkey overlords. Is it okay if we cut it here? We talked about a lot, and I'll leave some links in the description to some of the articles I mentioned and the Like Us subreddit and all the discussion that can be found there. And like, even if this is all just bullshit and has a less than 0% chance of happening, which I don't think is true, let's not forget that if we die from climate change, that means basically every animal on Earth is long since dead too. The climate change video is coming eventually. Just cut me some slack, okay? Just, remember, all life deserves dignity, and the lives of animals are as worth fighting for as human lives. And if you don't think it now, kind of a dick move, but I do ask you try and reconsider. It costs nothing to be empathetic and righteous. And I think I've already made it clear that my view is that this is going to become a lot more pressing and worthy of consideration with time. There's a lot going on in their worlds that we can't see and we don't know. But there will come a day when we will know, and it will be directly because of us, our knowledge, our existence, our actions, and it's going to be our responsibility. My one hope is simply that we will be able to extend our empathy far enough when that day comes. Oh, did you think there was like a point to this video? That's a oof, queen. No, you are sorely mistaken. This outro fucking sucks. Like and subscribe.